Welcome to the Versa Business Tips Podcast. I'm your host, founder, and CEO of Versa Business Systems, Shaheen Mazloom. We are here with two very special guests today that essentially have their doctorates in money. They do wealth management. They're the king and queen of money. Extremely successful power couple, Chelsea and Martin Matthews. Thanks for joining us today, guys.
Thanks so much for having us.
Great to be
Absolutely.
here.
Absolutely. Pleasure to meet you guys. So for our listeners that don't know you, explain to me a little bit about your expertise and what you guys do.
So we like to think of ourselves like wealth architects, so what we like to do is customize strategies for our clients. We believe that financial industry has a lot of cookie cutter things, but everybody's unique. They have their own goals, aspirations. Maybe they don't want to do things like everybody else, but they want things customized to them. Maybe they want to launch businesses. They want to own multiple businesses. They want to have interest in different business entities. So what we do is help people take a look at all the unique things they want to do and put together in a simple framework to help them do it and help them manage and organize their wealth, access private real estate deals, private investments, things like that, so they can be on track with their finances, and then minimize the taxes through tax planning and all those kinds of different things. So we really help people reach their goals in a unique way that's customized to them.
Right. And I'm sure some people out there, that may be getting started or they're new to business. Do you need to have a lot of money to start focusing on wealth management and finances, or is it really for anybody that's just looking to get ahead in life?
Well, I can tell you if you wait until you have a lot of wealth to manage it, you're not going to get there. So it really is about starting wherever you are, learning exactly where you are and what are the specific steps that you need to take to get to the next level, because there's always another level. So there's actually 6 building blocks that make up your financial house. And so we help increase people's knowledge about what are each of those building blocks, where are you, what risks are you facing, and how can you strengthen each one of those so you can build what we call an unbreakable financial house.
I like that. Yeah, very true. I was in a mastermind a few weeks ago, and they were explaining that. Somebody raised their hand, and they were like, I barely got $1 to my name. Do I even need to worry about management? And they're like, look, you're going to have much bigger problems if you end up making a few $1 million this year and you don't have things in place. All that money is going to go to the government.
Absolutely.
So, Now, how important is understanding money to be able to, really take advantage of, your finances and manage all that?
Well, the first thing you got to understand is solvency. So solvent means something can flow. So if I'm solvent in my household or business, this means I'm making more money than my expenses. So that's one of the first things everybody's got to understand. When you start working, you start producing, you got to start making money above your expenses. Then when you're solvent, you now have a surplus, and then you can take that surplus and you can start using it to invest and do lots of other things with it. But you don't have to have a tremendous amount of money. But when you really think of what money is, you got to break it down to the very simple essence. What we consider money today, the paper currency, is really a form of exchange. It's a substitute. It actually represents production. So, it's money evolved from like us trading with each other, right? Because if you take it back all the way back in the day, we didn't have this paper money. We traded with each other. I had a farm, so maybe I got a goat farm. Maybe you wanted some goats, you wanted some milk, whatever. And I traded with you for whatever you made. And so we exchanged back and forth. And then it was hard for us to I can't take my goat to the market every day to try to trade and all that. So how do we trade with each other? Well, we started using different substitutes. We used gold. I used salt at one point was considered money. So once you start understanding that money comes from production, it comes from producing goods and services, it becomes a lot easier to understand that if you produce enough quantities and enough quality services for people, they will exchange with you, and then you won't have a shortage of money.
Right. Totally get that. So, we're in a kind of a weird time right now, right? Where the US dollar is not being used as much or trying not to be used as much in international trade. You're hearing all these scare tactics in the news. How is that going to affect wealth management moving forward? And is that something people need to start worrying about now?
I think it's something you need to pay attention to, but I don't think you need to worry about it.
Right.
But in the 70s, our US dollar used to be backed by gold. So you could actually exchange it for gold. But now it's not backed by anything physical. It's if you pull out a $100 bill, it says Federal Reserve note. What is a note? A note is a debt instrument. Like accept this note. This is a piece of debt. So people don't realize that. It's not backed by gold. It's just backed by the taxing ability of the U.S. government. So before, everybody accepted our currency. But then over the years, that meant we had a certain amount of pull around the world. You're dealing with our currency. But in America, we're the only ones who can print U.S. dollars. You can't go to like France, can't print U.S. dollars.
Right.
Japan can't print U.S. dollars. So we have this currency that everybody generally accepts, and we're the only one who can print it. It's kind of a monopoly. So other countries start rising up economically, and they're like, hey, you know what? Maybe we deal with each other's currencies now.
Right.
And so to start trying to cut out the U.S. dollar a little bit, kind of weaken our stance globally. It's still the most traded currency around the world, but there's less and less demand for it. Like oil countries are kind of trading with each other. China and Russia, they're trying to trade in their own currencies.
Right.
It kind of freaks out the U.S. a little bit. It's why we believe in having multiple asset classes, like having real estate where you have a physical asset. We do things like life insurance, which benefits from globally when we use life insurance and things like that. So there's different. We believe in like gold and silver, commodities, all these different things, precious metals. All of these are great things to have as part of your arsenal, so that you actually have true form of money, not just paper.
Right. Wow, it's your guys' wealth of knowledge is amazing. I always think about things that our parents told us when we were younger, right? Like save money for a rainy day. Your parents never taught you about investing, right? Or money management or wealth management or whatever. What would you guys say is the biggest lie that we've been told by our parents and our grandparents about money?
I would say one is like money is hard to make. And all of us, we talk about
money doesn't grow on trees, right?
Yeah, money doesn't grow on trees, which like literally the paper that we print to make the money, it does grow on trees. But I would say, depending on our experience growing up, it really shapes our what we call money personality. And so one person could grow up hearing, oh, money is made to be spent. Or another person could be, growing up hearing money is really hard to be made. And so then that shapes our beliefs and our habits around money. And then when we grow up and we try to make financial decisions based on these lies that we've heard, right, and then we go try to get into business or relationship with other people who have different money personalities and different habits and beliefs, it just causes this conflict. And so really, you have to be able to really evaluate the data and the information that you were given and sort out what is true and what is not, and what is going to help you to get ahead.
Yeah, so true. That's always been my favorite one. Money doesn't grow on trees. Well, it's paper, but okay. So explain to me a little bit about your guys' entrepreneur journey. Have you guys always been entrepreneurs? I mean, how did you guys get started?
Well, it's funny. When I was a kid, I grew up in Liberia, West Africa. That's where I was born. Okay. And yeah, in Liberia, there's zero middle class. There's very poor people and there's people with some money. And my father used to be Secretary of State for my country. And every day people would come to my house, ask us for money. And I used to sit in a corner and listen to their stories. And I'm like, damn, this money thing must be important to people, because it's like every day they come here to beg for it. And I mean, they're like every single day there'll be a lot of people coming asking for money.
Wow.
And so I was like, okay, so why are people poor? That was my question. I was like, why money's important to them. Why is everybody poor in this country? And so it didn't make sense to me. And I wanted to understand that. So my first thing was I thought, well, I should start a business. So when I was like 12 years old, I started my first little business, and it was called Jerry and Martin's Credit Union. I had an older brother named Jerry, and I was
12
like,
years old, a credit union?
so I was going to start this credit union, and the whole idea was we would lend money to poor people, and they would pay us back with a little tiny bit of profit, right? So, and I don't know where these ideas came from. This is I wasn't reading about credit unions at 12 years old.
Right.
So I don't know where these ideas came from. They came from somewhere.
Right.
So obviously they originated from within me. So somehow I had the perspective to notice that. And so I got a little bit of money, and I had this little notebook. And I said, okay, that's going to be my first business I'm going to start. And I lent people the money. And nobody paid me back. So the business probably failed. I had no way to collect the money. I was too small to be kind of an enforcer to go try to. So basically, we call it JAMCU, Jerry and Martin's Credit Union. And I ran everything. My brother, I just named it because it sounded cool, but he was not really involved at all. And so I had no way of collecting any of my money back. So the business promptly failed. And it was an interesting lesson in entrepreneurship. My first business at 11, 12 years old failed when I was trying to do a good deed to help people. But it got me very interested in understanding money, actually doing something about it. That was the biggest thing. I could see something, actually do something about it.
Right. Very cool. Yeah, I started my first business when I was 7, cutting grass, plowing snow, raking leaves. And I didn't make any money either. My sister ended up taking it all and buying her first car. So it didn't work out. So I learned some very valuable lessons in my first business as well. Yeah. So what is it like? Do you guys work together every day? So you guys are married, obviously, right? Like, what is that like, working together in the same business, living together, being married together? Like, how does that work? I'm so curious.
It's awesome, and it's also challenging. But we have grown in a really short amount of time in our business and our relationship because we do so many things together. So
Right.
Like when Martin and I met, we were both in the financial industry, and we decided to combine our businesses. I was a single mom before I met him. So we very quickly combined our businesses, combined our family. We moved across country, started in an area where we didn't really know a lot of people. Wow. And then we also have a financial business. So we're talking to people about making financial decisions. A lot of times we talk with couples. So if we couldn't make financial decisions together as a couple and in our business, we would fail really quick. So we had to confront things very quickly in our relationship, making financial decisions together. And then also so that our business survives. And then so that we could also be ethical in what we teach and share and talk to our clients about as well. So I think that it was a blessing and also very challenging at times, but it was we knew when we first met, Martin grilled me. He asked me all these questions about what my goals were, if I wanted to get married, if I want to have more kids, all of these things. And when we started talking about all these things, we realized that we were who we were looking for because we wanted to build a big business. We wanted to be in a relationship with someone that we could be in business with. And so that has really carried us through some of the challenges and barriers that we face, as parents, in a relationship and in our business, that we were willing to have those difficult conversations and confront those things to get through them and keep going.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'll tell you one point on that. Why was I looking for this? This is not accidental. Having a couple that's in business together, it doesn't happen accidentally. It's that before I met Chelsea, I dated somebody who didn't care anything about business, entrepreneurship, all of that, understanding why I would go work, why I would work late hours, why I would work different odd times, all these different things. They didn't quite understand it. And I thought this would be a headache if I was trying to go building a business. This is more of a headache than I need. So the reason I grilled her was because I had to qualify her. I had to qualify her and say, well, are you really serious about building something? Are you really serious about having a family? All these different things. Yeah. So it wasn't accidental. It was on purpose because I was looking for somebody after I dated a girl who was not into me being an entrepreneur and all these different things and what goes along with it. I had to find somebody who could understand that and was driven enough to want to do that. It doesn't work for everybody, but for us, for me especially, that's what I was looking for and what I needed and wanted.
Yeah, I could completely relate to that. Especially when she was saying how you grilled her, right? Do you want this? Do you want that? Do you want the other? I'm a firm believer in not wasting each other's time. So like when I was dating, I think my longest relationship before my fiance now, who I'm going to spend the rest of my life with, my longest relationship was 6 months. Because within those 6 months, you find out, do they want kids? Can they handle a busy man? Can they handle a business owner, an entrepreneur? Do they want the same things? Are they going to build an empire with me? And so, yeah, I could not agree more. It sounds like your entrepreneurial journey together really helped you guys grow as a couple very quickly. Is that right?
Yeah, I would say so. And it's funny because we're opposites in a lot of ways, the way that we do things, our strengths. And that was one of the things that it was kind of a challenge in the beginning to overcome. Like in our business, we had to really sort out who's going to do what. Yeah. Because Martin had a little bit more experience in the industry, working with clients, putting together the, financial products and services and structuring them. And so I felt like I had to be as good as him at what he was doing. And I felt like the things that I'm really good at organizing and communications and some of the client communications and some of the back end things that aren't the direct income producing activities. And so I felt like, well, my activities and my strengths weren't as important or weren't as good. And so I would feel like I needed to be doing what he was doing, but then we would both be doing what he's doing and nobody would be doing the things that I was doing. Yeah. So I had to get clear on how important my roles and my strengths were and build confidence in that so that it's actually a benefit now. Like my weaknesses are his strengths and vice versa. Wow. And so now we have this beautiful blend of like all these different things getting done at the same time, where if we were just the same and good at the same things, it wouldn't work.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. Yeah. I mean, it's really important to find somebody that picks up where you lack and vice versa in business and relationships and whatever. We all have things that we're really good at. And if we can find somebody that's good at the things we're not so great at, I mean, wow, you guys are very lucky to have each other, not just as a relationship, but in business. That's awesome. Very cool. Now, so how old were you guys when you guys finally, I know you were a single mother, how old were you guys when you guys finally found each other?
So it was 2012 when William and I moved to San Diego. So I was 32. And you were, I robbed the cradle.
I was 28 at the time. She was 32. Chelsea's 4 years older than me.
Yeah, my fiance's got 10 years on me. So
yeah. I think for certain men, an older woman, the girl I dated before Chelsea was younger than me. And I think it was just kind of too immature for what my needs were, what I was trying to do. And so my stepmom, my father got married to somebody who was older than him. She was, I think, 6 years older than him. And so girls were always, I always dated older girls, even in high school. It was kind of a normal thing for me. It just kind of worked out that way.
Right.
And she just happened to be older. It doesn't seem like she's older. Of course,
my fiance runs circles around me, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So how do you guys turn it off? You're probably like me and don't take a lot of time off and a lot of vacations right now as you're building. But, on those days where you need a break, you need to recoup, you take a vacation, whatever it is. How do you guys turn it off? Or do you not turn it off? I know like me, like when I'm with my employees or my friends or my fiance, I like talking about my business. It's my life, right? But living and working and being in a relationship and all that with the same thing, do you guys turn it off when you guys have that downtime or do you guys just keep going all the time?
I don't know what that means. Turn it off.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I figured that'd be the answer.
It is definitely a challenge because there is times it's important to be able to give your attention to like all areas that you want to succeed in your life.
Right.
So to be able to come home and have family time and couple time, it is extremely difficult to turn it off though, because both of us, our minds are always going on what needs to be done. He's always got ideas. He's always researching new things. And so it is really hard. And then like most of the trips that we go on tend to be some kind of like business related. Yeah. And if they're not, we find a way to make them business related. Right off.
I'm the same way. Yeah,
you still got to be thinking business.
I will tell you some of our successful actions. Yeah. In the beginning, there's kind of my first mentor. He had a guy, and he had a successful marriage. He's still married, and I really liked the guy. So one of the things he told me was they have date night at least once a week. So when I first started dating Chelsea, I told her we have to have date night at least once a week. So that became a thing. Even when she got busy, she was like, "What's this deal with this date night once a week?"
I tried breaking up with them over it.
So I was like,
I don't have time for this date night.
Date night once a week. We got to do the date night thing, and it was good. It was good. And a lot of times our date nights still are business related things,
right?
Conversations. So we're talking about business there. One thing we do that's a successful action is we have an understanding about the different hats. So different hats would be like the different roles that a person has.
Right.
So sometimes I don't need a business partner hat. I need a wife hat. Or sometimes I need a friend hat. So I may tell her, "Hey, I need you to wear your wife hat right now, and I'm going to talk to you. I need to talk to your wife hat."
I like that.
So I'll tell her
just
that,
being clear on what you need.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's a good success when people understand, because she understands that lingo.
Yeah.
So she understands that. Oh, okay. I need this from you now, not the other thing. And so that's having that separation. You're talking to the same person, but you can be talking to different hats.
Right. 100%. Yeah. My fiance has to remind me, when we're having conversations, she's like, "Hey, like I need my man right now. I don't need, I know you just got off the phone with one of your employees, but hey, it's me," right? She's got to bring me back down sometimes. Yeah, I totally get that. I was actually talking to Elena Cardone the other day, and we were talking about, setting clear expectations on what each other needs and defining those roles, right? Like we have our goals together as a couple, as a business, whatever it may be. And then we also have our own individual goals and defining those roles and who plays what part. And, so it just comes back to, at the end of the day, it comes back to communication, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So as far as your business, what is one of the biggest changes you guys have made into your business that's made a big difference? Whether it be, revenue or time or whatever?
I would say two things. And the first one we kind of talked about with organizing our hats and getting clear on who's doing what. And then once we grew to where we opened our own office and started hiring people, then it was easier to have those different hats organized and like know what we needed help with and how to actually like bring on people and train them. But then the other thing that was vital in our business was when we started keeping stats. And there's different activities that we track. So like everything leads to the business has to make money to stay in business, right?
Right.
And so what are all those activities that lead to the business making money? And then tracking those different activities and not looking at like on a monthly or quarterly basis. We look at them on a weekly basis. And every single person in the business has their own stats on what they produce in their role. And then either their stats are up or their stats are down or their stats are the same. And then we have specific actions to take based on how those stats are graphed up, down, or the same. And then that helps us to know exactly what actions that we need to take to get those stats up and keep them up. And I'll tell you, before, when we started keeping stats, first we just started like keeping numbers, okay? Like if you're scheduling appointments, how many appointments did you schedule? Well, if you need to schedule more, how many people are you reaching out to, right? And how are you going to find those people to reach out to? So just tracking all your activities. And once we started doing that, our business grew 400%.
Wow.
And I don't know how we survived looking back of not really tracking those activities, because it seems like common sense, but a lot of businesses businesses don't track those things. So those are the two things that were like vital. I don't know if you have something.
Oh, those are great ones.
Yeah. I mean, I I kind of did the same thing. I'd say probably about a year ago. We tracked some things, right? Like every month we tracked our monthly sales and things like that. But about 8 months ago, we implemented the weekly stuff too. How are you tracking towards your goals? How many calls are you making? So every single week, I do a one-on-one with each of my employees, show them where they're at, see what's going on with their deals, see what they need help with. Every single week we do those one-on-ones, and we keep a track of where they're at with those numbers and those goals, so I can see where we're at as a company. They know where they're at as an individual. So yeah, I could not agree more. It's really, and honestly, this year, I don't even know what the percentage is, but let's just say we've already 10x this year from what we did last year, and we're in April. So yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's so important to know your numbers, know where you're at, and keep a track of those stats. So, that's awesome. 400% is huge. Congrats.
Thank you.
So, for people that are new to business or thinking about starting a business, what would be the biggest piece of advice you would give those people?
Speed to monetization. So I believe the consumer votes with their dollar. Everybody's got great ideas. Okay. Everybody's got a million freaking ideas. So you got to execute your idea, but then you also got to get paid. You collecting, you exchanging, right? So there's something called a valuable final product. Every company has a product that they have to deliver that's valuable to somebody else who wants it. So how that person votes, if your product or service is valuable to them, is with their money. So they exchange the money with you, and that proves to the public that person says, okay, this product is valuable. It's valuable enough that I'm going to exchange some of my valuable money with you for your product or service. So to the degree that you can then take the idea and the speed with which you can then get that idea into some kind of form, into the marketplace, and get somebody to exchange with you that validates if the idea works or not. Because, yeah, I might think I have a great idea, but will somebody pay for it? If somebody isn't going to pay me for the idea, then I might as well just make the thing a hobby. But
absolutely.
So see the deal. That's my test. That's the validation. Enough people want to buy this service. Okay, great. Now let's expand it let's expand the reach, the audience for this service. Nobody wants to buy this service? Well, I'm glad I didn't spend a year trying to put it all together. So that's the thing. If you're getting started in business, figure out what skill, what product, what service you have that the marketplace seems to want. Right. And then how quickly can you get somebody to pay you for it? And that validates if the idea is solid or not.
Yep. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Find out what the problem is, how you can be the solution, and make sure that it can be monetized. Make sure you can make money from that before you spend, like you said, months or years in investing into that idea that may not work out. So yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. So explain to us about for the listeners how this offer that you guys have. I understand you guys have something to give away to the listeners that can really help them in wealth management. Explain to us what that is.
So, we have a free gift. A copy of our book, Let's Fight About Money. And really, the reason that we named this book, Let's Fight About Money, is because most people aren't even talking about money. So if you're fighting about it, you're at least communicating. And then you can go from like fighting each other to fighting for each other. And so we talk about we share some personal stories, having financial conflicts and challenges, and how we really work through like communicating about money so we could get on the same page and really strengthen our financial house. So we have a free digital copy of our book, and for anyone who downloads the free ebook, we have a course also that it talks about how to use life insurance to buy real estate. You want to explain that one?
Very cool.
Yeah. So it's a cool and interesting concept, because one of the biggest challenges people have is you got to keep your money somewhere, right? You got to either keep your liquid money, or keep it in the bank, and you put some money in real estate and all these different things. Well, how do I leverage different tools to be able to buy real estate? Like you talked a lot about grant. Grant finances, a lot of these big deals, people may not realize that there are insurance companies that helps to finance grants real estate deals.
Interesting.
A lot of big insurance companies will finance big real estate deals like that. So grant will go to different financial institutions with that deal, and they'll come out with different things. So some of these deals have been financed by insurance companies. So why do insurance companies finance real estate deals? Because real estate cash flows. It's a physical asset. The insurance company takes in a lot of money every month from policyholders. That money's got to be put towards something. So instead of just keeping the capital sitting idle, they put it into certain asset classes. Real estate happens to be one of them. So they will lend to an operator like Grant to buy big real estate deals, and they get a piece of, to get their piece of the cash flow off that. So now how do I do that on my own individual scale? Well, you can, as you're building your business, you're building your wealth. Look, things can happen. And so life insurance is a key part of your overall financial plan because it ensures the financial survival of the household and the business if something happens to the income earner. Now, of course, you get to a point where you become really, really rich, but then life insurance even becomes even more important because there's something called estate taxes. So recently, in February of 2023, the U.S. Treasury received a payment of $7 billion from a taxpayer. This is somebody who died. And so if you go and look up estate tax on an IRS website, it says it's a tax on the inheritance of your estate. So before you pass on your estate, the total sum of your business interests, your assets, all these different things, before you pass that on to your beneficiaries, if you're worth above a certain amount of money, the government wants to tax you on you transferring that to your family. So, it's called estate taxes. So some billionaire died, and he had to end up paying $7 billion in taxes alone, all of their estate to the federal government, off of what was left over. So life insurance can also help to pay for your estate tax. Now, most people are not going to have a $7 billion tax bill.
Right.
But,
we can all hope, right?
Yeah, so you can actually use life insurance to pay the estate taxes so your family doesn't have to sell your real estate properties. So life insurance can help you buy real estate while you're living. And then also, if you end up having an estate tax problem, you can pay off your estate taxes when you die so that your family doesn't have to sell the real estate portfolio. So that's some of the different ways you can use these tools together. So we have a course on that where we explain to people how it works.
Very cool. So you're you're giving the ebook, and then along with that, the course on how people can use life insurance to purchase real estate.
Yes.
That's incredible. Wow. Thank you very much. That's huge. I'm definitely going to take that course because I'm very interested in that. So your average Joe can use life insurance to purchase real estate deals?
Yeah, you got to store money. You got to have some capital.
Yeah.
Right. So what essentially we're doing is you can store money in the bank. You can store money in Wall Street. Wall Street can be risky if you store money there. Oh, yeah. You can store money in real estate. So all these different places you can store money. Your average person can store some of the capital inside of life insurance policies. You get a higher interest rate than you would get at the bank. So your money is earning interest. It's compounding. So which means it's building on top of itself. And then you can leverage it, which means you can borrow against it. So you can keep your money working in your policy, borrow against it, go buy real estate. Now you've got your money working in two places at the same time. Yeah. So that concept, anybody can use it. Matter of fact, Joe Biden, whether a person likes him politically or not, owns 6 of these policies. He owns 6 of them.
Wow.
He's been borrowing against this policy for 40 years. So this is not even a new concept.
Interesting.
He owns 6 of them. He disclosed them in his financial disclosures. So he owns 6 of these policies. He's been borrowing against them since 1983. So Walt Disney owned them. JCPenney owned them. Walt Disney used it to finance Disneyland. Leveraged policy to do some financing for Disneyland.
Wow.
So it's been a concept that's been around for a long time. It's just not so widely known because it seems to be a very odd place. Why would I just keep money in a life insurance? It seems very odd.
Right.
But it's a very specific reason having to do with taxes. So life insurance existed before the IRS. The IRS was created in 1913. So life insurance is just going to always maintain a certain tax advantage. Nobody wants to tax widows and little children when daddy leaves a life insurance policy for them to live on. I mean, which politician wants to go and tax and say, "Oh, this used to be tax free, but we're going to take some of this money from the little children." So nobody wants to tax it. So it's going to maintain this favorable tax status over these many years.
Yeah.
And then, in 1980, the IRS came up with some guidelines, and the government passed some rules that says, okay, this is how you need to structure it and how you can use it. But life insurance has always had these tax advantages that other financial vehicles don't necessarily have because it has its own tax code. It has a tax code that regulates life insurance policies and shows you how you can use it and how you can leverage it. It's all there in the tax code.
Right. Very cool. Very cool. It just it reminds me of something I was talking with somebody about the other day, how the rich get richer because they know all these different on today. I have learned so much, not just about you guys, but about money and wealth. I can't wait to take that course. Do you guys have anything to add for our listeners?
I just want to thank you for having us on, and definitely if you guys have any questions, download the book and we can reach out to you, and we're happy to help with any questions that you may have.
Yeah, thanks, Shaheen. We appreciate you. Appreciate you doing this podcast to help business people. I appreciate all you do because, one of the biggest things that one of the most able people on this planet are businesses and small business owners, the people who work for small businesses, because they're making it happen. They're helping a small business to grow versus just a massive, big, giant corporation where you can get lost in there. People who are driving small business and working in small business are really the true drivers of the economy because they're the ones in the trenches, creating jobs, doing all these different things, and having this podcast and sharing the things that you do to help businesses become successful. I think is a great thing, and it's a very worthy and noble thing to help people reach for higher levels and increase their level of survival through business systems, things like that. So
thank you. I appreciate that. We got to help as many people as we can, right? That's what makes the world go around.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you guys hopping on. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I hope to hop on again soon.
Thank you. You too.
All right. Take care, guys.
Take care.
Bye.